I'm disappointed to see that that flaring has come back in such a big way, and I wouldn't say it's accepted, but it's I guess maybe tolerated.
So then the question is, the natural gas industry has in the past has been criticized for not paying enough attention to methane gas leaks, either when natural gas is being produced or transported or stored. Do you think the industry has made strides where that issue can be put behind the industry, or does the industry still need a lot more work where leakage is not an issue?
Well, I think the industry has made strides, but I think there's quite a ways to go. And I think, the leakage is one thing, but leakage is, is a loss, and that's typically, minimized to the extent that you possibly can. But things like flaring,
Yes.
There's a lot of flaring going on now in the United States. Now, I used to, give a number of different presentations around the world and, pointed at other countries on their gas flaring and how bad that was. And, we used to do it here a long time ago. I'm disappointed to see that that flaring has come back in such a big way. And I wouldn't say it's accepted, but it's, I guess, maybe tolerated.
Yes.
And I don't know that it should be. And you've even got, some of the major players that are, unfortunately flaring, but they're saying, gosh, we really should not be flaring.
But
it's hard for one company to say, well, I'm going to cut my production back because I don't want to flare, when their neighbor is not cutting back and they're flaring. So that type of thing to me has got to go.
So what is the solution? How can companies reduce flaring without affecting the bottom line? Is there a way? What are they lacking? Are they lacking the infrastructure to transport the natural gas to a buyer or a consumer? What prevents them?
Well, yeah, it's really the infrastructure of transporting, and your question was, how do they do it without impacting the bottom line? I think maybe a little bit of the bottom line has to be sacrificed.
Okay.
In order to prevent the broader environmental consequence. Yeah. And so, and there's a lot of places in the world where it's just more economic to flare. I used to show some slides of flares in Nigeria, and I was giving a talk to some students in a grad program at Duke University. And I asked them a question. I said, how many of you guys were born, before, I think it was 1993, not a one of them. And I said, well, this flare stack is older than you are. They've been just going for, 30 years. And so, I used to point at that as somewhat shameful, but from an economic point of view, that's the most economic thing. Now, I've had discussions with government folks in Nigeria, and say, they have a tax, a flaring tax,
yes,
but they do not enforce it.
They don't
because the companies say, well, look, if I'm going to be taxed, I'm going to shut back production, and the country does not want that. So I think you cannot do it without impacting the bottom line as we know the bottom line today. Now, if that bottom line starts to have a penalty associated with,
yes,
let's say harmful practices or unfavorable practices, now all of a sudden you benefit your bottom line by installing the capital or paying for the service to take the gas away. Because it is valuable stuff, right?
Yes.
It burns, it has a fuel quantity, it has a thermal quantity. Once you burn it and flare it, it's gone forever.
It's gone forever. And do you think the price of natural gas, the price of natural gas today is almost double what it was couple years back, or even a year ago, right? And so at what point does it become economical for these companies to now look at natural gas not as something that is in the way of their oil production, or something to, right, that becomes a valued asset.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly has value that the oil price is the driver. So the oil, pulls that out of the ground, and the gas, it's as though we were back in the 40s.
Yes.
It's a byproduct. So it would have to improve in price to really make it economic. Or again, maybe it's not a price pull, maybe it's a penalty push, that says, look, if you're going to keep flaring, here are the other costs that you're not having to pay for. This climate change, that's a global impact.
Yes.
That a lot of
Yes.
people are really not paying
Yes.
for. And
Yes.
so I'm not sure if we have the luxury of waiting for prices to move up to the point where, okay, now it's a good deal to go stop flaring.
You're saying that they need to be good corporate citizens and take care of that issue.
I think that's where we're moving, and the same is true with the carbon footprint, carbon sequestration.
Yes.
Nobody really wants to store their carbon underground, because it's nothing more than an expense.
Yes.
But I think we're getting to a point where the cost of the emissions have to be recognized.
Yes. Yes. And this whole movement of ESG and even energy transition, from societal pressure, from judicial pressure, from government pressure, and then the most lethal of them, investment pressure, right? Investors are waking, and now, go ahead, please.
No, I absolutely agree. I mean, you're seeing that. You're seeing some very shocking, as we all know, that small companies can make enough noise and they get some support behind them. Next thing you know, they're on the board of a very large company.
Yes, yes. I know which one you're referring to.
Yes, exactly. I think we're going to see more of that.
Yes, that was absolutely surprising to see how that happened. Almost an Hollywood script.
Oh yeah, I think if you made a movie, most people would not believe it.
That's right. That's right. And so that activism is here, but I'm hearing of investment companies who are choosing to build criteria which says that unless companies are ESG focused and even compliant, that they're not going to invest in those companies. And the oil and gas sector needs investments, where the S&P share of the oil and gas sector has reduced drastically. So we need new investments, and looks like the message is focus on ESG.
Well, and I think that's somewhat where the gas industry has a challenge that it has to address, and that's the image of gas, because you just said the oil and gas industry as though it was one thing.
Yes.
And I think gas has an opportunity. The gas industry has an opportunity to say, wait a minute,
we're not
the same thing.
Yes.
We've got the most simple hydrocarbon molecule on the planet. You can burn it in your kitchen.
Yes.
Let's differentiate a bit. And I think that's going to be a challenge of the industry, so that we don't, we as the gas industry don't get thrown into one pot that's sort of a dirty pot.
Yes.
That's called hydrocarbons, and therefore you're bad. Because again, I don't think as a world we can deal with do without the hydrocarbon molecule for a number of generations.